My name is Dwayne Robbins, and this is my Week 7 assignment for FTE 217. Okay, when working on or potentially working on triggers, you have to look for if the triggers are just malfunctioning when you're pulling the trigger or pressing the trigger. There's a certain weightage or poundage that is needed in order to release the sear from the hammer and let it drop. When working on a trigger, it is important to verify what needs to be done with the trigger itself. Excuse me. Because you don't want to be doing anything that could be potentially illegal. If when working on a trigger, some things that could happen from improper trigger work is you could decrease the pressure needed in order to fire the firearm, and that could cause accidental discharges, yes, or negligent discharges, as some people say. That could be a problem because if the firearm is chambered and you just bump it, it could go off and hit somebody or something. One thing about improper trigger work and how to avoid it, excuse me, is I could say if somebody wanted you to try to make their firearm fully automatic, that could be an improper trigger work. And how to avoid it is just by saying no and staying away from that customer, because that could get you and them in a lot of trouble. Okay, for the next portion, I already took my rifle apart. Just go over a couple things that I'd be looking for if I was doing my detailed inspection of my rifle itself. When I get the bolt apart, the bolt carrier grip apart, you would want to look for any cracks or anything in the bolt carrier. You can actually push up on this to see if the firing pin comes up. So you can check and inspect. Let me try to get this. There you go. To see if the pin has any deformations or chips. Then you'd look inside for the feeding ramps and the chamber itself to see if there's any chips or cracks in that. You can also look for carbon buildup in the barrel itself. Go on to the lower part. Make sure there's no cracks in the magazine well or with the magazine. Check your triggers. Make sure everything is good. Your buffer tube. See if there's any cracks or anything in it. Make sure there's no carbon buildup on your buffer spring. Just overall, look over the overall condition of everything and make sure everything is good. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is the different things, looking for what the disconnectors and all that and the safety is going to do on this. First time I have it apart, I'm going to push the hammer back and lock it. That's the sear holding on to the hammer. We're going to check and see if the safety works, which is turning it off to safe. Pull the trigger, the hammer doesn't go forward. Switch it on to fire, and the hammer will go forward. I just don't want to let it go and fly forward because it could break apart and come forward. I'm going to put the gun back together, and then I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Alright, firearms back together. Nothing in the magazine. Gonna double check it. 1, 2, 3. visually and physically inspect the chamber. Make sure there is nothing in the chamber. There is nothing in the chamber. This weapon is safe. Okay, as I said with the safety, that is fire, that is safe.
Good.
Alright. The firearm is on safe right now. It will not fire. Put it on fire. It fires. As long as it works like that every time you do it, you have nothing to worry about with the safety as far as everything else. So, one more time. Safe. Fire. Okay. Okay. The thing is with the AR platform, I think the easiest to repair or replace would be the charging handle on the AR platform, because that's the easiest thing to pull out. Just replace it. The most difficult part, I think, would be, honestly, for me, the most difficult part was the trigger, the fire control group, the trigger, everything there. Just having to do with the bending the springs and make sure they were in right, putting the pins in. But replacing the barrel, or putting if you don't have a threaded barrel, getting that threaded, I think, would be the most difficult portion of it. After that being said, that's the conclusion of my week 7 assignment for FTE 217.